All right, good evening, council. I will call the June 11th regular council meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. and acknowledge that all members of council are present except for Councillor Meadows, who does send his regrets. Before we begin, I'll read the township land acknowledgement. The township of Adjala-Tosorontio is situated on the lands within Treaty 18, being the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples, including the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. This land is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We acknowledge Indigenous peoples as stewards of the land, and we honor their resilience as well as their culture, and of our shared respect for the lands, plants, animals, and waterways which sustains us all. We recognize the injustices against Indigenous peoples and are mindful that the decisions of government impact our shared land and all the inhabitants. We commit to reconciliation as a journey, foster Indigenous cultural awareness and educational opportunities, to establish respectful and healthy relations with Indigenous peoples, and to continue to steward the land and its inhabitants, and to cultivate an inclusive community for all. So we do have closed session this evening. So there is a recommendation that pursuant to section 2392 of the Municipal Act 2001, Council of the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio convene in closed session at 5:31 p.m. to address the following items. 1, confidential staff report, clerk 2025-010, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, and litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality, small claims court direction. And second item, confidential staff report, clerk 2025-11, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, and litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality. Again, a small claims court direction. Do we have a mover to go in closed session? I have Councillor O'Leary, seconder, please. Councillor Borzos. Any questions on the recommendation? All those in favor? And that is carried. All right, so we're in All right, so we're going to reconvene in open session. So Council of the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio reconvene in open session at 5:54 PM to report on closed session items. So we do have two motions here for council's consideration. First one is that confidential staff report CLK 2025-010 dated June 11, 2025 be received and that legal counsel and staff proceed as directed in closed session. Do I have a mover for that recommendation, please? I have Councillor Cox, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laux. Any questions? All those in favor? And that is carried. And then the second item is confidential staff report CLK 2025-011 dated June 11, 2025 be received and that legal counsel and staff proceed as directed in closed session. No mover, please. Councillor O'Leary, seconder, please. Councillor Borzos. Any questions? All those in favor? And that is carried. All right, council, it is 5:55 PM and I will recess this meeting until the regular session or the open session of our meeting at 6:30 PM. All right, good evening, everyone. This is our regular council meeting of June 11th, 2025. I had to think of the date again there for a moment. Welcome. We are in our open session. We did have a closed session at 5:30 this evening. So I will reconvene the meeting at 6:30. Are there any additions to the agenda, council? Okay, so I do have one item I would like to add to the agenda under new business. The information is on desk for council, and it is the 33rd annual charity golf fundraiser from Nottawasaga Foundation. So I'd like to add that to new business for discussion on sponsorship of their event. Any questions on that? Okay, can I get a mover for that recommendation, please? Councillor O'Leary, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laux. And that'd be that Nottawasaga Foundation 33rd annual charity golf fundraiser be added to the June 11th, 2025 regular council agenda as new business under item 18.1. And it requires a 2/3 vote on this item. All those in favor? And that is carried. All right, so the item 5 is the adoption of the agenda, that the agenda for the regular council meeting held on Wednesday, June 11th, 2025 as amended be adopted. Mover, please. I have Councillor Cox, seconder, please. Councillor Simpson. Any questions on the agenda? All those in favor? And that is carried. We're on item 6, disclosure of pecuniary interests. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest from council this evening? All right, seeing none at this time. If you do find yourself in that situation at a later time, please declare then. And we're on to item 7, adoption of the minutes. Let the minutes of the regular council meeting held on Wednesday, May 14th, 2025 be adopted as presented. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Cox, seconded by Councillor Borzos. Are there any questions with regards to the May 14th minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? And that is carried. There are no presentations under item 8. There are no deputations under item 9, and there are no public meetings under item 10 this evening. So we're on to item 11, which is public comment. Members of the public may request their comments to be read by the clerk or present their comments orally. Only public comments related to an item on the agenda listed as staff reports, correspondence, or bylaws will be considered. Members of the public wishing to submit public comments can do so in writing to our clerk no later than 12 noon on the day of the meeting. And is there anyone in attendance here who would like to provide their comments? If so, please raise your hand and once called upon, proceed to the podium. Are there any persons in the audience wishing to speak? Yes, sir. If you could come up to the podium, please. Thank you. And if you can just make sure the green light's on the mic there for you. Just, there you go. We need your name and address, please.
My name is Joshua Brown. I live at 92 Marigold Boulevard in Tottenham.
Okay. And what item on the agenda are you speaking to?
I am speaking to a comment made by one of your staff about the wastewater budget experiencing higher wastewater user fee revenue.
Okay.
Sorry. Just have something that I wanted to read off so I don't get sidetracked. Okay. Perfect. So originally, coming from Brampton, we've noticed a significant jump in the water rate, both with wastewater and regular water rate. We were just trying to find if we could get a proper explanation for this. We also understand that I would say between July of last year and June of last year, there was a change in the I guess you could say base rate, flat rate fee, and went from $20 to I think approximately $132 between the two, and the actual lineage changed from 3 lines to 4. So now it's wastewater flat rate plus wastewater rate. Then you have the then you have the water rate and water flat rate as well. The rates both together add up to about, I'd say, $11 per cubic meter. Now, a cubic meter is 1,000 liters of water. For some residents who may be experiencing high a high bill, say between 900 and 1,700, you could be saying that they're using over 100,000 liters of water, if you're putting the math correctly. Now, for a lot of us, we're not understanding how that actually comes about, how that comes across. And we're hoping that we can get an itemized breakdown of the charges for the flat rate fees as well as the water rate fees. And then the bylaws authorizing each fee, as well as any cost recovery agreements between the municipalities and the developers, because we understand that it is a new development area and that the developers themselves actually built the water system. So if they did put in, say, we'll build it for you, you guys just pay this, and you have to pay it back over this amount of time, we would just want to know the amount and how long that would run for when it ends. Yeah, and just how these rates compare to surrounding communities like Tottenham, because we also realize that they're in that $4 to $5 range, and we're at like a $6 difference with, I would say, little to no real explanation. That would be it.
Thank you. So before you go, my thought process here is we don't generally answer questions during council. So what I would suggest to you is to reach out to our clerk,
Okay.
Robin Reed here. Her information is on the website.
Okay.
And you could make an appointment with some staff here, and they could go through those explanations with you as to what that information you're looking for.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the best way of looking at it. Most of our information for our billing cycles and our water rate study is on our website. So that information is already available for you to view.
Okay.
So if you're looking for a bit more as how the rates came about, that's within the water and wastewater rate study in 2024. But again, schedule an appointment with the clerk, and they can walk you through some of these items.
And you said that was the water waste study done in 2024?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other persons in the audience wishing to speak this evening? All right. Seeing no others, Madam Deputy Clerk, did we receive any comments in writing?
To you, Your Worship, no comments were received in writing.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So that leads us to item 12, which is upcoming events and announcements. I do have a few here, but I will ask council if there's any upcoming events or announcements they have. Okay. All right. So first of all, I just wanted to acknowledge that I attended the Simcoe County Conference on May 22nd. And I was very impressed with what the county put on at this conference. It was held at Casino-Rama, and there's a full day of workshops and presentations. And the county's done a really good job on networking within all our local municipalities. So I did want to congratulate the county on a job well done on that. And these conferences are held annually, I believe. So if council and staff are looking at attending one, we can get that information out next year. I think it's very worthwhile to get everyone in the same room and to start networking a bit here for the township. That evening also, I just wanted to acknowledge that then I was on to Bradford for the Nottawasaga Futures Awards, Business Awards. And at the awards event, we had a local business win the Agricultural Excellence Award, and that was Lyle Livestock and Fresh Market. So I want to congratulate them on their business and all that they do for the community as well. So congratulations to them. The other upcoming events that we have within this month. So first is the National Indigenous History Month. June is Indigenous History Month in Canada. It's a time to honor the stories, achievements, and resilience of Indigenous peoples who have lived on this land since time immemorial and whose presence continues to impact the evolving Canada. The second item is June 21st, which is upcoming, is National Indigenous People Day, and it's a time to recognize and celebrate the traditions, cultures, and contributions of First Nations and Inuit Métis peoples. The third item is June is also Pride Month. It's an opportunity to come together to support the resilience, celebrate the talent, and recognize the contributions of 2SL LGBTQI plus communities. And I will acknowledge as well, I attended last year and I'm hoping to as well, this is Alliston's second annual Pride event, which is on June 21st at 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Paris Street. So if you're in the area, please stop by. The next item is with regards to tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, the township will be hosting a public information center on our proposed official plan. It's being held in the public room from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. There will be information stations set up throughout the evening to help guide individuals through major topics and provide clarity on the planning process. And we encourage residents to go to our website at adjtos.ca, draft official plan, and submit any questions before the event. And from what I understand, there is also going to be a questionnaire that's going to be on the website and available for tomorrow night as well, so we can gather some more information on your thoughts and comments. And the last item I have is with regards to Canada Day. So July 1st, of course, is Canada Day. We will be hosting our annual celebrations here at the municipal office. So opening ceremonies, and we're going to be doing a live talent show here. We have some musical artists and dance artists coming in at 10 a.m. along with dignitaries. And it's expected to be about an hour in length here at 10 a.m. And then at 7 p.m., and the gates open at 6 p.m. for individuals coming in the park. But at 7 p.m., the festivities at the municipal office grounds kick off. We will have paint a plow, kids activities, touch a truck. So we'll have some vehicles, municipal vehicles on display, as well as a fireworks show starting around 10 p.m., probably about 10:15 with the way it has been in the recent past. We will acknowledge that there is no parking on County Road 50 or Side Road 30. All parking is to happen in the municipal grounds, and it does fill up fairly quickly. So if you want to be here, you should be here, planning to be here earlier than 10 p.m. And lastly, I just wanted to also acknowledge, I believe I did at the last meeting too, but just as a reminder that the Everett Legion will be celebrating their 75th anniversary, and that is also on June 21st. And there's a huge lineup of events going on that day. So if you are in the Everett area, please enjoy the festivities. But also please acknowledge that there will be a few road closures. So if you are in the area, there could be a few delays throughout the day. There's a bike rodeo and I believe a march to the Cenotaph that will take a few minutes out of the time there. And also on June 21st, I would be remiss because that is a busy day for me. The strawberry pancake breakfast is happening at the Hockley Community Hall. So it's a 3-event day for me, so it'll be busy. But if you're in the Hockley area, they do a great pancake breakfast on the 21st. Okay, that's busy month. Councillor Cox.
Through the chair, I'd also like to recognize that June 15th is Father's Day, and for every father in the township to enjoy the day.
Thank you. And over to 15th. Yeah. I'm sure your kids will remind you. Yes. And I'll go over to the CIO for an administrative update.
Thank you, Mayor Anderson. I'm looking forward to a new pair of socks on Father's Day myself. Just also add to what the mayor was saying, the draft official plan, some of the mapping was placed on the township website on May 30th, along with all the other information as noted by the mayor. From the last council meeting, the posting regarding the THMs and the rectifications and recommendations were posted as noted on May 15th. Just want to also note that the website itself will be having a relaunch on mid-September, but a presentation will be at the September council meeting, just to give some information on that. On the roads, calcium applications have started already. You may see that, and some dust suppression, and also some grass cutting at the side of the roads. If anybody has noticed, that has also started. So just wanted to let you know that it's a busy time on the roads for cleanup now that it is officially feeling like spring on to summer. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, so that leads us on to item 13, which is our consent agenda. Council, are there any items to be pulled from consent this evening? Councillor Simpson?
13.1.
Okay. Any other items, council, for consent? Okay. So the motion for consent then is that the consent agenda recommendations from 13.2 to 13.8 be adopted as presented, and that staff be authorized to take all necessary actions. Do I have a mover for that recommendation, please? Councillor Simpson, and seconded by Councillor O'Leary. All those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so we're on to staff reports then. So the first report is 14.1, staff report I&D 2025-15, which is the 2025 complete asset management plan. And I'll send this over to Mr. Johnstone for introduction, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, staff are pleased to present the 2025 complete asset management plan. This puts the township in compliance with OREG 58817, which requires us that we have a full asset management plan up on our website and approved by council. So it includes all sections, meets all requirements, and gives us a plan in terms of our infrastructure from the time period of 10 years from 2026 to 2035. There's a lot there, so I'm pleased to answer any questions that council may have about it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from council to staff? Councillor Cox?
Yeah, through the chair, I would just like to Mr. Johnson, in the future, if this plan gets amended, if we could actually put the definition of the asset rather than the coding, so I know what it is we're talking about, because I don't have access to those codes. So when we see the codes and the value associated with it, I actually don't know what it is.
So just to confirm, Councillor Cox, you're looking for more information on the what the asset number is and what the item is actually the asset.
The item is.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments on the report? Councillor Cox? That was it? Okay. Councillor Simpson?
Through the chair. Mr. Johnstone, I'd like to say first off, this is a very comprehensive report. I did have a chance to speak to Mr. Johnstone before the meeting. I'd like to echo Councillor Cox's note as well with regard to where those assets are located, and perhaps if Mr. Johnstone, you could provide some sort of mapping so that we have an idea of which sections of road and things like that. I think that would be helpful to council, and I understand that we're also getting additional reports which will include that, right? So I think it would be beneficial if we all get a update that shows where that mapping is. Additionally, I want to note with regard to this report, we're looking at spending $6.9 million on an ongoing basis. That looks like a shortfall of about $3.8 million from where we are to where we're looking at what we're going to be spending. And I guess I'll ask the CAO this. Does that mean that we're committing this council or future councils to increase the amount that we spend for the asset management?
Mr. CO?
Through the chair, this is just a snapshot of what black and white, what our assets are. Staff don't commit council to anything. What we do is we take a look at this and use it kind of as a playbook to look at our assets when they need to be regentrified and approximate timing of that. So it plays a role in our recommendations, it plays a role in our finances, and it plays a role in our plans for our asset on a long-term basis. So as we move forward with our capital plans, it does feed information to staff as we take a deep dive and analyze it. So this kind of takes a look at a linear plan of degradation of the asset over its lifespan. And we also have to understand the actual uses of it from the operations. We put a bunch of different knowledge together, analyze it, come up with something that we could talk to finance about and see what we can actually afford. And then we put what our recommendations are towards the draft budget. And then we let the budget process play out as it may be. And then we would adjust depending on the choices through that budgetary process.
Thank you. My concern is if we're identifying that we're going to be spending about 7 million or thereabouts or we're supposed to be spending 7 million or thereabouts on a yearly basis, as identified in this plan, and we're going to have a budget shortfall of that 7 million by about, we're spending $3.5 to $4 million less. We're quickly going to accumulate a shortfall very quickly, where infrastructure needs to be upgraded, thereby putting pressure on increasing taxes, right? So that's my concern. I just don't want to be in a situation that we kind of we're forced to increase taxes very quickly to meet this plan. So I do have that apprehension.
Okay. Just to elaborate on some of that, Councillor Simpson, as well, I believe that's why the asset management plan is put in place, so that we see the gap and we see the difference, so that we're always mindful that there's needs for infrastructure improvement. I've had very frank talks with staff that's a target I don't think we're ever going to meet. I don't think any municipality is ever going to really meet their asset management goals. But if we continually plan for the future and make sure we have funds available to put into our capital budget each year, then I think we can chip away at that. So I don't see, we've seen it here, for example, in this capital budget in 2025, over $3 million in spending. So if we are able to continue on with incremental increases, then we're going to be able, without the premises, as long as we don't want to add more assets, the idea is that we get to that target quicker with over time.
And certainly I recognize that there's no municipality that's meeting their asset management targets. But that said, I think that gap, as a municipality, what are we aiming for? Are we aiming for 50%? Are we aiming to keep that gap at 50%, or do we raise it to 75%? So it's just in terms of, because this plan is there, I think we have to kind of also be realistic that means we're aiming to meet these targets, and perhaps not today, but eventually that we would do so. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Well, and I agree too on that sense. But I also think this is legislated by the province, and I think I hope that's what their goal is they want to see what the viability of municipalities are, because their funding is based on our asset management. So if we show a gap of $3 million, then the province should be stepping in also with funding needs for the municipalities, because those are infrastructure needs. So I think it's part and parcel for the township and also the provincial government to see where municipalities are struggling on infrastructure dollars, because we cannot sustain that ourselves. Or like you said, we're never going to hit that gap. Any other questions or concerns on this report? Okay. So the recommendation is that staff report IND 2025-015 dated June 11, 2025 regarding 2025 complete asset management plan be received. and that the 2025 complete asset management plan attached to attachment 1 be approved. Do we have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor Simpson, seconder, please. Councillor Cox. All in favor? That is carried. So we're on to 14.2, which is staff report CL 2025-001 with regards to the community safety and well-being plan refresh. Mr. CO.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a staff report of a conglomeration between ourselves, our neighboring communities, and the OPP, taking a look at an updated plan for community safety and well-being. This is really sponsored through the OPP, taking a look at particular key areas of incident response, risk intervention, prevention, and social development. So kind of covering a number of different bases to protect our most vulnerable in our areas.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions for the CO on this item? All right, seeing none, there is a recommendation that staff report CO 2025 1 dated June 11, 2025 regarding community safety and well-being plan refresh 2025 be received, and that council endorse the continued collaboration between municipalities, police services, and community partners, and that council approve the community safety and well-being plan refresh 2025, and that council direct staff to post the community safety and well-being plan on the township website in accordance with section 252 of the Community Safety and Policing Act 2019. Do I have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor Borzos, seconded please. Councillor O'Leary. Any further questions? All those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so we're on to 14.3, which is staff report CLK 2025-12, 2026 municipal and school board election voting method. Ms. Reed.
Thank you, Your Worship, through the council. Staff have prepared a report and bylaw today for council to approve an alternate voting method for the 2026 municipal and school board election of internet and telephone voting. This was the voting method utilized by the township in the 2022 municipal election, and we did have a voter turnout of 42.5%. And on that basis, staff is recommending that that is the method that we use for the 2026 election. I'm happy to take any questions that council may have today.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions through to the clerk? Deputy Mayor Locks.
Thank you, through the chair. More of a comment. It was interesting to see the numbers that were provided in table 1 there on, unfortunately, how poorly the numbers went down as opposed to going up. And very, very good to see that our numbers did actually go up. So hopefully they'll keep going up in the next election. But good work on that and a good report. Thank you.
Okay, they actually did slightly go down. No, we dropped 1%.
My bad.
That's all right.
Hopefully you're new. It's the same way. I thought we went up 1%. We went down 1%. My apologies.
But either way, I think to your point, I think is the taking is we have been constantly in Adjala-Tosorontio in the 40s for an awful long time, which is great to see that we have individuals in the community willing and able to vote. Still much more improvement than Dale Co, though. Councillor Borzos.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair to Madam Clerk, I've noticed voting by mail might be an option. So with the on and off, it's Canada Post going on strike, off strike, on strike, off strike. So if it happens to be on strike at the time, do we have a contingency for that? How do we support voting by mail if there's no Canada Post service?
Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through to Councillor Borzos. Staff is not recommending vote by mail as the method for the 2026 election. It was included in the staff report so that council was advised of all of the options that are available to you. As stated in the report, I would only recommend vote by mail as a supplementary method to another voting method, and that would be for accessibility reasons. Internet and telephone voting is supported by our accessibility committee for the reason that it is the most accessible version. You're not required to attend a voting location, which may pose issues individuals with mobility issues, and voting by mail would be a great option to fill in that gap if we were to do a vote in person method of voting.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'd have one Madam Clerk, and I know this is something you'd have to certainly keep an eye out, but if there was ever an outage of internet or phone in a time frame, are there contingencies baked into this with our provider that, if we can't do a certain 2-week period, that there's an additional 2-week period that we could run this prior to, I guess that would depend on the election day, of course, but is there an opportunity to shift that around if that ever had to occur?
Thank you, Your Worship, through to Council. So in preparing our election procedures and process, that it will be something that we do develop a contingency plan for. In addition, under the Municipal Elections Act, there are emergency provisions that if for some reason the vote isn't able to proceed on election day, and that would be for any method of voting, the clerk is able to declare an emergency and make alternate arrangements. So it might mean opening the polls again the next day. So those will all be things that will be included in our election procedures once the voting method is approved and we move on to the planning stages of the election.
Yeah, thank you. All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none, there is a recommendation that staff report CLK 2025-12 dated June 11, 2025 regarding 2026 municipal and school board election voting method be received, and the council approve the internet telephone voting as an alternate voting method for the 2026 and school board election, and the council consider the necessary bylaw in accordance with section 42 of the Municipal Elections Act. The mover, please. Councillor Borzos, seconded by Councillor Cox. All in favor? As carried. Okay, so we're back to item 13.1, which is the item pulled from consent. And item 13.1 is the Finance 2025-06, 2024 year-end operating variance. Councillor Simpson, you pulled this?
Yes, through the chair. Thank you. With regard to the report, there's a couple of things I had questions with. The first one was with regard to the variance for other. So that's page 3 of 6. And I was hoping I could get some sort of update on this. It says unfavorable variance due to bad debt expenditure as a result of legal settlement. And if this is something that we need to go into in camera, then I would like to do so. Thank you.
I'll look through to this. I'll look to both CAO and to the treasurer if that's something you can discuss high level as to what's in the inclusive of the other potentially, because I don't think that's not the only thing that's in the other. I don't believe, is it?
Through the chair to council. So the unfavorable variance due to the bad debt is mostly due to a legal settlement.
Okay, so I'm looking at this and I think we budgeted 316,000 and the actual is about 800,000. So we have a variance of about 485,000. So was the entire $485,000 then due to the legal settlement?
So just looking at this item, and if I recall correctly, so we budgeted a higher amount based on needing.
We budgeted lower amount.
Yes, so we got the difference of amount in the legal settlement.
Sorry, did we get that or did we lose that? It says it's an unfavorable variance.
Through the chair to council, that was an expense that we had to book as a result of a legal settlement. So we didn't budget for this settlement. So it was an unbudgeted expenditure.
Should we go into close to get
Does
a
that clarify anything?
Not really. Do we need to go into close to get a more detailed explanation? I don't know.
I don't believe we need to go and close to deal with this report. We could certainly go into later time for discussion point, but I don't think it reliant. Budgeting.
The thought process here is, I don't think council got any report that identifies a settlement of that nature. So that's where I'm a little confused on where that number's coming from.
Okay, I can confirm that we did. Council met in closed session to discuss this item particularly. I think the concern is the numbers don't necessarily correspond to what was presented in closed session. So are there any other items that you would wish to discuss on this?
I mean, that was one that jumped off at me. I guess the other thing to note is water or wastewater is now meeting its budgetary requirements because of decent user fees, I guess. And just wanted to highlight perhaps the treasurer can explain in terms of the water operating summary, the transfer from reserves was less than what was budgeted. Is that something that we're going to observe on an ongoing basis?
Through the chair to Councillor Simpson. So with respect to the water operating budget, the transfer or what we were budgeting as a shortfall was less than what we anticipated because of the additional users in the new subdivision coming online in 2024. That revenue should continue to grow as we add more users to the system. So I fully expect the amount or the reliance on money from the working fund to decrease over time. And as we add more and more users, that you should see that trend.
Perfect. How many people is the entire subdivision hooked up at this point? Or are we at like 70, 80%?
Ms. Anderson, would you have just a ballpark number there?
I believe we're around 500 occupancies within the subdivision, in and around that number.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions from council on this item? Okay. So the motion would be that, just grab my page here again. The motion is that staff report finance 2025-06 dated June 11, 2025 regarding the 2024 year-end operating variance be received. Do I have a mover for that motion? Councillor Cox and a seconder, Deputy Mayor Laux. All of those in favor? That is carried. All right, so there are no items of correspondence, which is item 15, and then we're on to item 16, which is bylaws. So 16.1 is bylaw 2025-037, amend the rate of speed bylaw. So its recommendation is that bylaw 2025-037 to amend the rate of speed bylaw 1222 being a bylaw to prescribe the speed limit for motor vehicles on highway portion within the township of Adjala-Tosorontio with regards to concession road 8. Do you have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor Cox, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laux. Any questions with regards to this bylaw? All those in favor? That is carried. 16.2 is bylaw 2025-038, lease agreement with the corporation of the county of Simcoe for the use of a facility space. And that bylaw 2025-038 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a lease agreement with the corporation of the county of Simcoe for the use of a facility space be enacted. Mover, please. Councillor Cox, seconder, please. Councillor Borzos. Any questions or comments? Councillor Simpson.
Through the chair, what is this? Which space is this specifically?
Everett Fire Hall.
Oh, okay. And I guess we're giving them the ability to utilize the bay for something or just the
They're-
office?
They're utilizing the upstairs space as needed for a rest area and paperwork reporting.
And just quick clarification, is it not normal to have such a nominal fee? Is there typically a more robust fee for services like this and rental amounts? Thank you.
So I'll go to the clerk on this one. If you might explain just the process on the background of this, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through to Councillor Simpson. So EMS has been using that office space for a number of years. It was brought to our attention by one of our former fire chiefs that we didn't have an agreement in place that covered us in terms of insurance or liability. They have the County of Simcoe EMS has recently changed their work program. So essentially, the office space they're using as a hotspot, they jump into complete paperwork as needed and leave. The expectation is that they're not there for a long duration of time. One of the reasons why this agreement is set to expire at the end of the year is so that the fire department was able to track how much time they were actually using in the space and then re-enter into negotiations for an increase in the lease amount should it be warranted in future years.
Thank you.
Any other further questions? Deputy Mayor Laux?
Thank you to the chair. I think it would be also noted that I believe with them responding and taking care of business as opposed to our fire department, it'll be a bit of a savings too for us, because it's definitely costly for us to do medical calls, and with them being outposted there and kind of in the middle of nowhere, it's really,
No, I think it's
yeah,
great.
it's super beneficial, yeah. So hopefully we don't negotiate them out of being there when it comes around to next year, because it's really great having them up there. But thank you, yeah.
Any other questions? I just have one, and I just have language, and I understand this will be coming back for council consideration if a new agreement is struck in 2026. But I do have concern just with the use of space and being mindful that we do have a potential to use a space outside of just training for fire department. There could be potentially office space needed, or other events or emergencies that we may need the space. And I would fully expect the paramedic services would have no issue with that, but it'd be nice just to capture some of that language within the agreement to cover us off that if we never had to reclaim the space in an emergency, that we have the authority to do so without breaking the lease. For just something to consider in future language. All right, any other questions on this one? All right. So I do have a mover and seconder for that. It's Councillor Cox, seconded by Councillor Borzos. All those in favor? And that is carried. So we're on to 16.3, which is bylaw 2025-039, and that's to amend bylaw 0421, and it's regards to regulate parking in the township. So it's bylaw 2025-039 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 0421 as amended, being a bylaw to regulate parking in the township of Adjala-Tosorontio will be enacted. And do I have a mover for this item? Councillor Simpson, seconder please. Councillor O'Leary. Any questions with regards to this item? And I'm just clarifying, it was to put the set fines within the bylaw. That's correct. Thank you. All those in favor? That is carried. And 16.4 is bylaw 2025-040, 2026 municipal and school board election voting method. So the recommendation is that bylaw 2025-040 being a bylaw to authorize the use of alternative voting methods, being internet and telephone voting for the 2026 municipal election be enacted. Mover, please. Councillor O'Leary, seconded by Councillor Simpson. Any questions with regards to the bylaw? All those in favor? And that is carried. All right, we're on to item 17, notices of motion. I'm not aware of any this evening. And then item 18, we have 18.1, which was added to the agenda at the start of the meeting with regards to a request from the Nottasaga Foundation. And there is a recommendation here that I would look for someone to move, that staff be directed to register the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio as a silver category sponsor for the Nottawasaga Foundation 33rd Annual Charity Golf Fundraiser in the amount of $750, funded from the council grants, donations, tributes budget line item. Is there anyone wishing to put that on the floor? Councillor O'Leary, seconded by Deputy Mayor Laux. I asked staff to provide this information on desk as well. So we got the request. This is the second request. We've generally done this yearly. I don't believe we did do it last year, but the request comes in every year. The Nottawasaga Foundation provides charitable donations through their foundation to a lot of deserving organizations, and in the past have in fact contributed greatly to the fire department and the fire associations with the purchase of equipment. So I think it's something that we can support and give some credibility to their organization on behalf of the township. So I'm open to questions or comments. Okay, so I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. All right, so we're on to 19.1, which is the confirmation bylaw. In that bylaw 2025-041 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Township of Adjala-Tosorontio at its regular council meeting held on June 11th, 2025 be enacted. And do I have a mover for the recommendation, please? Someone other than Councillor Cox? Councillor Simpson? And Councillor Borzos. We're just going to start picking next time. Any questions on the confirmation bylaw? And all those in favor? And that is carried. And we are adjourned at 7:16 p.m. Thank you, Council.